Tennessee. An underground research institute. Inside a narrow employee dormitory. A handsome young man in his 20s is using a computer, quickly searching through various materials. At the same time, his hands are swiftly calculating complex biological formulas on a notebook. On his chest, there is a silver badge. His name is written on it, Shu Luo. And his work unit and position, Super Soldier Serum Team 71, Researcher 7108. Not bad. Shu Luo specializes in researching the Super Soldier Serum. The kind of powerful serum that transforms ordinary people into Captain America. However, Shu Luo does not work for the military or the government, but for Hydra. Assisting Hydra in researching the Super Soldier Serum. To be precise, the predecessor of Shu Luo's current body was specialized in researching the Super Soldier Serum. And now, the soul occupying this body is actually a time traveler. He just arrived in this body a few hours ago. When he arrived, the predecessor was already dead. As for why the predecessor died, it's simple. Firstly, the Super Serum Team, the predecessor was in, spent a lot of time and money but failed to successfully develop the Super Soldier Serum. Secondly, the current timeline is shortly after Avengers, Age of Ultron. After Hydra was exposed in Captain America, the Winter Soldier, it suffered heavy losses, both in terms of funding and manpower. So Hydra decided to cut off some ineffective projects, reclaim all resources and research materials, and kill the researchers to prevent them from leaking the corresponding research results they had obtained. So a few hours ago, the person in charge of this base, along with security personnel, strangled the predecessor to death. And then Shu Luo from Earth took over. Definitely, if Hydra discovers that Shu Luo has been resurrected, he will soon face a new death. The current Shu Luo is just an ordinary person, without any super abilities. If Hydra discovers that he is still alive, he will have almost no room for resistance and can only choose death. But there is always a way out. Shu Luo just arrived in this world and received a gift from his mother in his previous life on Earth. You have received a gift from your mother in your previous life on Earth, gaining the ultimate scientific research ability and unlimited evolutionary potential. Ultimate scientific research ability. You possess unparalleled research ability, allowing you to study anything you want. You can understand all knowledge and master them. Unlimited evolutionary potential. Your body has the potential for unlimited evolution, capable of accommodating all evolutionary powers and absorbing them to the maximum extent. However, it is currently a blank slate, and you need to fill it with scientific technology. The scientific research ability allows Shu Luo to analyze all extraordinary powers and strengthen himself. The unlimited evolutionary potential allows Shu Luo to perfectly integrate the powers he analyzes into his own body. The current Shu Luo is no longer the previous Shu Luo. He is now someone with the ultimate scientific research ability. He now possesses super learning, super scientific research, logical thinking, super memory, and a series of other super scientific research abilities. In order to avoid dying at the hands of Hydra, Shu Luo is currently using this ability, rapidly digesting the research materials on the Super Soldier Serum and the current research results. And he is also rapidly deducing the formula for successfully manufacturing the Super Soldier Serum. Because only by researching and developing the Super Soldier Serum and injecting it, he can have the ability to save himself. At this moment, Shu Luo's brain is like a supercomputer, working frantically and rapidly deducing a large number of complex bioengineering formulas. Cellular energy conversion equations, biomutation equations, biomutation safety thresholds, coordination and overall control of billions of neurons, and cell collapse, and so on. Countless knowledge is flowing through his brain. During the process of his brain working frantically, the energy in his body is also rapidly depleting. Soon, his stomach growls. He quickly breaks open a few chocolate bars and eats them quickly, then continues to deduce frantically, without daring to stop for a moment. Because Shu Luo understands that he is now racing against time, racing against the death god. Because soon, there will be a specialized team to clean up the bodies, entering all the staff rooms and disposing of all the bodies. If they find out that he is still alive at this time, they will quickly eliminate him. As for escaping, he is just an ordinary person now, and the research institute is heavily guarded, with armed soldiers firmly controlling the exits, making it impossible for him to escape. So, Before being discovered, he must research and develop the super soldier serum and inject it. With each piece of paper filled with various equations, Shuluo is also rapidly breaking through the difficulties of each super soldier serum. In the office of the head of the research institute, the blinds of the window are pulled down, tightly closed. The head is inside, making a phone call. He grovels to the phone. Lord Baron Strucker, all the researchers of the Super Soldier Serum Group 71 have been dealt with. Baron Strucker's voice sounds through the phone. Very well, back up all the data, then erase all the data in the research institute, and finally shut down the institute. All right, Lord Baron Strucker. Baron Strucker continues, don't let anything go wrong with this matter. Your research institute has already failed, if you can't even handle wiping your own A*. The other person's voice suddenly turns cold, then I will have to eliminate you. Sweat beads form on the head's forehead, and he quickly wipes them away. Rest assured, Lord Baron, I will definitely handle this matter properly. There will be no mistakes. Soon, the call is hung up. The head dials a subordinate's phone, changing his demeanor, and says coldly, send the cleanup team to dispose of the researchers' bodies. Also, check if there are any escapees. If there are, eliminate them. Yes. Inside the dormitory. After several hours of intense deduction, Shuluo's face has turned slightly pale, and he even feels a bit dizzy. This is the result of excessive mental exertion. Finally, just as Shuluo feels a slight headache, he deduces the final formula of the super soldier serum. He picks up the latest piece of paper, filled with data. Seeing the paper in front of him, Shuluo reveals a smile. He licks his dry lips. Finally, it's done. Today, the complete formula of the Super Soldier Serum sees the light of day again. Great discounts on books for the Dragon Boat Festival. Top up 100 and get 500 VIP points. Chapter 2. At this moment, Shuluo's heart was filled with excitement and a sense of accomplishment. He had actually deduced the Super Soldier Serum. The military, Hydra, and other organizations had spent decades trying to deduce the Super Soldier Serum, but he had managed to do it in just a few hours. Although it was largely due to him standing on the shoulders of the Hydra research data, which saved him a lot of time. But taking this crucial step was the most important. After all these years, only he had achieved it. And it was all thanks to the terrifying research ability bestowed upon him by the Earth. With this ability, Shuluo believed that as long as he didn't die, he would definitely be able to climb to the highest point and take a look. After a brief moment of joy and excitement, Shuluo's face became slightly serious. He murmured to himself, next, the most important thing is to successfully formulate the serum and inject it into my body. Shuluo clenched his fist. By taking this step, I will have a future. Having developed the serum, the next crucial step was to put it into action. Only by injecting the serum into his own body could he survive and escape from here. He now needed to stealthily infiltrate the laboratory and secretly prepare the super soldier serum. Fortunately, all the researchers were dead, and there were no people in the laboratory. As long as he entered the laboratory, he would not be easily discovered. But he had to sneak into the laboratory first. Click. A lighter was ignited. A stack of deduction materials in front of him began to burn fiercely and was thrown into an iron bucket beside Shuluo. All this information was already engraved in his mind, so there was no need to leave it in the world. The blazing orange flames illuminated Shuluo's slightly pale face and determined eyes. Shuluo ate another chocolate bar to replenish his energy. Then he quickly tapped on the keyboard, using some computer knowledge from his previous life to hack into the surveillance system of the research institute. He tampered with the footage of certain surveillance cameras. As long as the surveillance doesn't see me and I'm a bit careful not to be discovered by security personnel, I can sneak into the laboratory. Next, he had to go to the laboratory. To avoid being detected by the cameras, he needed to disable all the cameras along his route to the laboratory. Click. Shuluo finished tapping on the last keyboard key, and a gleam of excitement flashed in his eyes. Done. He had successfully dealt with all the cameras. He quickly got up, quietly opened the door, and saw that there was no one outside. He pushed the door open and walked outside. Following the memories in his mind, he quickly walked towards the laboratory. At the same time, on the other side of the laboratory, a group of personnel with handguns were pushing an incinerator towards the dormitory. Advertisement. They first arrived at the dormitory of Researcher 7101 and checked the bodies inside. After confirming their deaths, they threw them into the incinerator. Boom! The incinerator erupted in flames, quickly turning the bodies into ashes and completely disposing of the researchers. They then moved on to dormitory 7102, repeating the same actions. Shu Luo encountered no obstacles along the way and everything went smoothly. Mainly because the researchers had been eliminated, and the security personnel were preparing to retreat. The laboratory appeared before Shu Luo's eyes. Luck is on my side. I haven't encountered any problems, Shu Luo said, looking at the equipment inside the laboratory, feeling a sense of excitement and anticipation. Next, I will formulate the super soldier serum. As long as I do that, I can escape from this research institute. Shu Luo focused his gaze. This research institute didn't have super soldiers like the Winter Soldier, nor did it have individuals with super abilities. There were only some heavily armed soldiers. Once he possessed the physique of a super soldier, it would be enough for him to break out. He pushed open the door of the laboratory. After entering, he locked the door behind him. Seeing the door locked, Shu Luo breathed a sigh of relief. The entire laboratory is made of reinforced bulletproof glass, and once it's locked from the inside, it can't be opened from the outside. Even if the people from Hydra want to rush in, it will still take them quite some time. This time should be enough for me to formulate the serum. He quickly left the spot and headed towards the experimental table, his hands moving swiftly, using a large number of instruments. Drop by drop, the biological potion was continuously adjusted, sometimes turning blue, sometimes green, sometimes transparent, like magic. Occasionally, with a bang, a green smoke rose from the test tube. The team responsible for cleaning up the bodies continued to move forward. Soon, they arrived at dormitory 7105. Click. The door was pushed open. There was no body inside. Damn it. What's going on? Where is Researcher 05? One person touched the bed and tapped the ash-covered iron bucket. The bed is still warm, and the iron bucket is warm too. It seems like someone was just here. Could it be that this researcher didn't die completely? They came back to life. Immediately, one person tapped on the computer keyboard and looked at the browsing history inside. There was a recent login to the account of 05, and records of accessing the super soldier serum data. His expression slightly froze. It seems that there is a high probability that 05 didn't die. He immediately reported this to the person in charge. Upon hearing this report, the person in charge felt a chill down their spine. They didn't expect that there would actually be someone who slipped through the net. They quickly sounded the alarm. Holding a communicator, they shouted to all the security personnel, 7105 is still alive. All security personnel, aside from the guards, take action. Dig 3 feet deep to find 7105. Once found, permission to shoot directly. Immediately, the entire research institute lit up with urgent red alarm lights. Teams of people set off, beginning a thorough search of the entire research institute. Inside the office, the person in charge pulled up Shu Luo's reading records. Seeing that the other party was looking up relevant information about the super soldier serum, and had been browsing for several hours, they furrowed their brows slightly. What is this guy doing? Why, in the last few hours, has he been looking up information about the super soldier serum? They pondered. It seems that this guy knows that with his ordinary body, it's impossible for him to escape, so in the end, he wants to gamble on the super soldier serum. Begging for a miracle, trying to create a successful super soldier serum. They sneered. Simply a pipe dream. A group of people for over a decade, and there hasn't been much progress. Can he, alone, create a miracle in a few hours? Is that possible? Their gaze turned cold. I must quickly deal with this guy. If Baron finds out that I didn't clean up properly and someone survived, I'm definitely in trouble. Inside the laboratory, Shu Luo was rapidly completing his actions. Suddenly, an urgent red alarm light sounded. It seems they've discovered my disappearance and started looking for me. I must speed up. Hurry and formulate the things. Shu Luo felt the pressure increase, and his movements became faster. Soon, a series of hurried footsteps sounded outside. Immediately after, a fully armed security team appeared. They immediately saw the person inside the laboratory. They quickly shouted into their pagers, "We found 7105. This guy is inside the laboratory. He's working on something inside. The door is locked from the inside, we can't open it from the outside." The cold voice of the person in charge came from the pager, "Shoot the glass with bullets." The group of people quickly picked up their firearms. Bang bang bang. A storm of bullets rained down on the glass. Listening to the gunshots in his ears, Shu Luo's nerves immediately tightened to the extreme, sweat dripping from his forehead. Just a little more. Just a little more time. Duan Wu Kan Shu Da Yu Wei. Chong 100 Zong 500 VIP Dian Quan. Chapter 3. He clenched his teeth and almost unleashed all his potential, rapidly concocting something in his hands. The office of the person in charge. Through the security personnel's glasses, he saw Shu Luo's actions inside. The laboratory's cameras had been hacked by Shu Luo. So, the surveillance couldn't see what was happening inside, it still appeared empty. The person in charge frowned and said, "What is this guy doing? Is he preparing a serum? If he takes a failed serum, it will be worse than death. Is this guy desperate now?" Their team had prepared many serums, but they all failed. After the experimental subjects took them, they would suffer for a period of time and eventually die. The person in charge sneered, "Such an arrogant guy." Just at that moment, a phone call came in. "I didn't expect there to be a problem over there." Baron Strucker's cold voice sounded. The person in charge was sincerely fearful and quickly said, "Lord Baron, I am already handling it, you can rest assured. We will soon deal with this guy." In a distant location, Baron Strucker looked at the computer screen, which displayed all the surveillance videos from the Super Serum 71 Research Institute, as well as the scenes captured by the security personnel's perspective. He saw that inside the laboratory, the surviving researchers were frantically concocting something. There was no change in his expression, and he coldly said, "Handle it properly." He also saw Shu Luo's reading records, but he didn't pay much attention to them. After all, this team had made no progress for over a decade, and this young researcher's performance was mediocre after joining. He didn't seem like a genius capable of creating a super serum. Immediately after, he turned off the surveillance of the Super Serum 71 Research Institute. Although it had bulletproof glass, if bullets kept shooting at it, it would eventually break. Under the continuous barrage of bullets. Not long after, creak, a tiny crack appeared on the glass. Seeing this, the team members all showed joy on their faces. It finally cracked. We can soon blast through this disgusting glass wall. Shet, our institute's glass is really damn good in quality. Looking at Shu Luo sweating inside, the security personnel sneered. Advertisement. This idiot is about to receive a baptism of bullets. I wonder if this guy will die first under our guns or from the poison he concocted himself. Inside, Shu Luo stopped his rapid movements. He took a deep breath and shook the test tube in his hand. The colorless liquid inside the test tube began to change rapidly. Soon, a pure light blue liquid flowed inside, extremely pure and beautiful like the sky. Looking at the blue liquid in front of him, Shu Luo's eyes widened with joy. It's done. The Super Soldier Serum. He quickly picked up the syringe next to him and poured the Super Soldier Serum into it. Then he inserted the needle into his own vein. He pressed the trigger. Swoosh. The serum was directly injected into Shu Luo's vein. The people outside saw this scene and all grinned. This guy is really asking for death. It would be better for him to die in our hands. The taste of failed serum, the feeling of being better off dead, is much more painful than a bullet. This kid really can't see the bigger picture. Inside the office, the person in charge saw this scene and immediately let out a sigh of relief. For him, whether it was shooting or injecting the failed serum, there was no difference. As long as the person died, it was okay. Now, the other party has injected the failed serum, and there is no hope of rescue. Definitely doomed. The person in charge smirked and started dialing the phone. Thank goodness it's over. At the moment when the Super Soldier Serum was injected into his body, Shu Luo felt an extreme sense of pain, as if countless hammers were pounding his body, almost grinding his bones to dust. Ah! With a bang, Shu Luo fell to the ground, emitting waves of screams. He tightly clenched his hands. The intense pain almost made Shu Luo faint. But he understood that he absolutely couldn't faint, he had to persevere. Otherwise, this sleep would be eternal. Without the will to resist and coordinate his muscles, his body would eventually collapse. So, willpower is the last rope holding onto the body. Waves of intense pain surged towards Shu Luo like a tide. Sweat poured out of his whole body, his body trembled incessantly, his eyes filled with bloodshot veins, and the screams were endless. Hold on, he shouted in his heart. Shu Luo didn't want to die here. After all, his future was boundless. His ability destined him to go to the top of the mountain and take a look. He just crossed over and died. And he died from injecting the real super soldier serum, unable to bear the pain. This was too pathetic. He absolutely refused. Since he crossed over, he must live like the protagonist. What is this little pain? Shu Luo tightly clenched his hands, his nails embedded in them, blood seeping out. But he couldn't feel this little pain at all because the intense pain in his body was too strong. I can do it. Shu Luo's eyes were bloodshot, his face twisted. Others were terrified when they saw him. The security personnel outside felt a chill down their spines when they saw this scene. They had seen this scene before. Those who injected the failed serum would endure this kind of pain. I think injecting this thing is seeking death. It would be better to let me shoot him. G stupid. This kid is completely finished now. In the office, the phone connected. The person in charge flattered, Lord Baron, I have already resolved the small oversight on my end. Baron Strucker, is he dead already? The person in charge laughed, he just adjusted the serum himself and injected it. He is now writhing in pain on the ground. As you know, injecting the wrong serum, no one can survive. It simply destroys the cells in the body, ultimately leading to an excruciating death. This guy. Suddenly, the voice of the person in charge stopped abruptly. Immediately, there was a sound of gasping in shock. Baron Strucker asked urgently, what happened? Promotion. Great discounts on books during the Dragon Boat Festival. Top up 100 and get 500 VIP points. Chapter 4. Under the bombardment of a large number of bullets, the bulletproof glass, which had been strengthened, was covered with cracks. Finally, even the strengthened bulletproof glass couldn't hold up anymore. With a bang, it instantly shattered. A group of armed personnel saw this and a smile appeared on their faces. Damn it, we finally broke this thing. Charge. Let's give this guy a few shots and let him die a little more comfortably. Hee, I'll go for a headshot, no one should try to steal it from me. The group quickly rushed in. Meanwhile, inside the laboratory, Shu Luo, after enduring waves of pain, completed his metamorphosis. After the intense pain, a warm current surged through his body. At the same time, bursts of explosive power continued to emerge. Lying on the ground, Shu Luo was panting heavily. He clenched his fist, and an astonishing burst of power kept surging out. He smiled with satisfaction, finally, it's done. At the same time, as he heard the sound of glass shattering, a cold light flickered in his eyes. Next, it will be my territory. He quickly rolled and rushed into the experimental platform, holding several sharp surgical knives in his hand. These knives were originally used to dissect people who died from taking the wrong serum. Now, they had a better use. To kill living people. Seeing Shu Luo suddenly stop screaming and swiftly roll into the experimental platform, the security personnel widened their eyes. Their eyes were filled with astonishment. FK. He's not dead. How is that possible? This speed. Did he succeed? A security personnel swallowed his saliva, a hint of fear flashing in his eyes. After injecting the serum, enduring the pain, and not dying, but still being able to move normally, this was a scene they had never seen before. In the office, the person in charge saw this scene and took a sharp breath, his words abruptly stopping. The Baron heard the person's sharp breath and asked what was going on, but the person in charge couldn't listen at all now. His attention was completely focused on that narrow laboratory, on the man hiding inside. He shouted incredulously, How is this possible? He clearly injected the serum. How is it possible that he didn't die and can continue to move normally? Upon hearing the person in charge's words, the Baron's breath hitched. Injected the serum and still not dead. Still able to move normally. Advertisement. This, performance. Thinking of the only possible result, the Baron took a cold breath. The Baron quickly asked, did he succeed? Did he succeed? Did he succeed? Asking 3 times in a row whether he succeeded or not showed the urgency in the Baron's heart. Inside the laboratory, due to their fear, the security personnel quickly started shooting at the front of the experimental platform. But the platform was made of metal and couldn't be penetrated at all. They quickly moved towards the back of the platform, wanting to defeat Shu Luo, who was hiding there. Shu Luo listened to the direction of the gunshots. His brain quickly worked, and then he moved, popping his head out from the other side of the platform. Several surgical knives flew out. Pissed. One surgical knife directly hit a person's forehead. A surgical knife was directly inserted into someone's chest. A surgical knife grazed past someone, leaving only a small scar. Even with a strong physique, Shu Luo's hit rate could not reach 100%. Even headshots are a matter of luck. There's no way around it. After all, Shu Luo had never fought before. Being able to do this is already very good. Several screams rang out. 2 people fell down. 1 person died, the other groaned in pain. Shu Luo pursued his advantage. He quickly dodged attacks, crossed several experimental tables at once, and rushed into the crowd. He still had 1 surgical knife in his hand, with a cold and sharp blade. During the fight, Shu Luo showed no signs of panic, and was even terrifyingly calm. Even with continuous gunshots and imminent danger, he could still calmly think about how to fight, how to position himself, how to throw the knife, and how to kill. He didn't know if it was the effect of the super serum enhancing his willpower, or the effect of his research abilities. As Shu Luo charged into the crowd, the situation instantly reversed. He was like a ferocious wolf among sheep. The movements of these security personnel seemed slower in his eyes. Before the opponents could aim their guns at him, his surgical knife turned into a cold and bone-chilling arc, slashing across their throats. Pissed. Warm and viscous blood splattered onto Shu Luo's stern face. Quickly, Shu Luo dealt with the security personnel in front of him as easily as cutting vegetables. The noisy gunshots disappeared, leaving only silence. Blood gushed out and the bodies on the ground twitched slightly. On the ground, only Shu Luo stood tall. His face and body were splattered with blood. Combined with his stern expression and cold eyes, he looked like a blood-soaked demon. Resolved. Next, I'll go to the control room, get the data I want, and then break out. If possible, Shu Luo wouldn't mind staying and slaughtering everyone in the research institute. Kill all the Hydra soldiers and leaders. However, he didn't have the time for that. Because Hydra could send reinforcements at any moment. He was currently just a strengthened super soldier, not the Hulk or Superman. If the enemy sent a large number of fully armed soldiers, or sent more super soldiers, he wouldn't be able to handle it. So, he had to escape from this research institute before Hydra reinforcements arrived. As for his grudge with Hydra, he could settle it when he became stronger. But before breaking out, he had to go to the control room. Because there were the data he needed. After all, Hydra's research institute still had a lot of intelligence and information. He needed some people's information. For Shu Luo, the super soldier serum was far from enough. It was just a temporary solution to his current predicament. He needed even greater power to deal with Hydra and future potential crises. He picked up a gun, a few magazines, and walked towards the outside. Fortunately, this was America, where almost everyone had experience with guns. His previous self was the same, otherwise he might not even know how to aim or reload. After doing all this, he poured flammable chemicals in the laboratory. After doing all this, he lit a lighter and threw it in. Boom! A raging fire ignited. Heat waves swept through the area, reflecting off Shu Luo's blood-stained cold face. New book, please provide data. More than 100 flowers for an extra chapter. 20 reviews for an extra chapter. 10 monthly tickets for an extra chapter. Any donations for an extra chapter. 10 hot reviews for an extra chapter. Dragon Boat Festival book discount. Get 500 VIP points for every 100 recharge. Chapter 5. Shu Luo turned around and rushed out with a gun in his hand. The person in charge looked at the scene in front of him, dumbfounded and trembling. He never expected that this researcher, codenamed O5, had actually developed the super soldier serum. This serum had stumped countless scientists from the military, SHIELD, and Hydra, and even the genius super soldiers. Yet it was broken through by a seemingly ordinary young man in his 20s. His voice trembled. How is this possible? The Baron's chilling voice rang out. What happened? In the distance, as the Baron spoke, he reopened the surveillance of the Super Serum 71 group. However, the surveillance in the laboratory was already broken. But from the hallway camera, they could see the laboratory engulfed in flames. A blood-soaked young man with black hair was sprinting in the corridor, carrying a rifle and a cold surgical knife. His eyes were completely normal, without a trace of madness, filled with reason. Seeing this scene, the Baron's breathing became slightly rapid, and a hint of ecstasy. Next chapter soon. Like, comment and share. Love you all.